Hey y'all, how's everybody doing? I feel like I should warn you. I'm doing a very special day today. No. Today is Cow Appreciation Day where I work at Chick-fil-A. And so what happens is the staff goes in and helps them because it gets so busy. So, anyway, I am going in my little cow t-shirt. We all got this cow t-shirt we're supposed to wear. Normally we wear the same thing as the team members wear, but they want us to wear this special shirt today, so that's what we're wearing. Kind of flashes out your color. But anyway, so I went ahead and did my brows, liner, lips, and face foundation, but I thought I would share a palette and a purse. This purse, you guys, is one of my favorite all-time purses. Do you see it? It's an Etienne Agnier. Lots of people used to call it Etienne Adner. And there's how you spell it. E-T-I-N-E-N-E. Agnier is A-I-G-N-E-R. And my understanding is that is how you spell it. I mean, say Agnier. It looks like Etienne Agner. And some people would call them Agners, but it's Agnier. Anyway, it has, let me make sure I'm saying this right, yeah. It has one big pocket, or one big open area, and inside it has a zipper pouch, and no cell phone pouches, or sunglass pouches, because this is an older purse, and back then, people weren't obsessed with having their sunglasses. If they did, they had the sunglass case with them. And they certainly didn't have cell phones. This is a much older purse. It's very vintage. It's got a nice long shoulder strap, leather shoulder strap. It is leather. I can't smell it, but it is leather. And because she didn't make anything but real leather. And it's got this little kind of lizard trim detail right there. And it does have an outside pocket where you can drop your cell phone. That is where I keep that. What about this purse? Why is it so special? My husband found this for me in a garage sale for 25 cents. These things back in the day would have been $50, and that would have been like spending $500 now. So this is a vintage purse that I love. It really can hold a lot more than I've put in there. My gosh, it could hold a lot more. But anyway, so I love carrying this purse. I'm going to be carrying that purse today, and I'm going to be using this particular palette. This is a Lorac, or Lorac, L-O-R-A-C, Lorac Cosmetics palette. And this one is number 15261. It says, Your L'Experience, or Your Experience. But as you can see on the name, on the front name, and I accidentally did this little scratch mark, so ignore that scratch mark. That's not normally on there. It almost looks like they're having fireworks off their little Malibu beach house. But this is called Malibu Free Spirit. And inside, it has a Malibu. That's the name of the palette. Really good mirror, but I don't want to flash you with that. So I'm just going to show you the actual palette. And this palette is, in my opinion, a face palette. Now, you'd have to have all the right brushes, which I will. But you can very easily use Long Board as both a bronzer and a neutral transition color. You can use Afternoon Tea Rose both as an eye color and a facial highlighter. You can use Morning Surf both as an eye color and a blush color, which is why I wish they would have put that over here with the big colors. And that's the only matte color. I'm sorry, these two are the only matte colors. The rest are shimmers. So I just want to get right to it. And I will use Beach House, which is this kind of frosty. Everything's got a bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, a bit of a pink undertone to it. Like this is clearly a champagne, but it almost has a rose champagne undertone to it. It doesn't say rose in the color, and it doesn't feel like it has to say this to you. I'm going to go all over with it and back there. But it's a more cool champagne than a warm champagne. Do you know what I mean? Like most champagnes have a gold undertone. This clearly has a pink undertone. I don't know if you can tell. And so I'm putting it in my inner corner, and I'm running that across the lid, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fill up just to have something laid down before I put anything else on. And what does that do? Do y'all know? I'm going to redo the inner corners. What that does is it just makes it, if it's not first powdered down, and I'm using almost like a blending brush to put this on, which is not my typical. Usually I use a shader brush. But when you do it that way, when you put something else down before your any other color, then when you put the next color down, it's not as splotchy. It doesn't tend to stop over the skin and dry spots or whatever, because you've already got a powder there. Alright, so now I'm using a large fluffy, and I'm going to this longboard color. I'm not going to use a lot of it. This is just for transition. So I'm putting it between the brow and the crease. It's just this section in between. And I just kind of go over it once like that to make sure it's not an actual line. So I go top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, little short brushes just to get that area back here. And then I kind of go over that so that's not a line. Okay, and you can see the difference is all it does is it kind of warms up the area between the two so that whatever color you add in the crease is not so like sudden. That's why we call it a transition color. Now I'm going to go to Route 1, which is a kind of bronzy brown. Again, it's got some gold in it, but just to me it's a pink warmth. It's not a this one's probably a little more gold, and I'm using a tapered blending brush, which is a good brush to use for your crease because it's a little more precise. And you can blend it out more, but I like to keep my crease color in my crease. You can blend it up just a little bit so it's not a line. There we go. And while I want depth, I don't want too much of a made-up look. So the good thing about this is these colors are very well blended to each other, and so it doesn't look so dramatic on, meaning you can go ahead and put a darker color in the crease and get that depth perception that you want, but you don't have such a look. And of course, what can we do? What can you always do? You can always blend it down. So I'm going to keep a dark, yes, I always lick it. That's because these are my palettes. I don't share my palettes. But, and I don't really want to use chemicals that you use in, what am I trying to say? Like, I guess you could use the MAC Prep and Prime and spray it. For one thing, when you spray it, it goes everywhere, and very little of it actually gets on the brush. I only get it just slightly damp so that the color will stick to the brush really good. And as it transfers, it's more, almost makes it like a little bit of a cream. Still a powder, but it just, and see how that's just a dusting of the same color that we have in this crease. That's all that is. It just kind of connects those two colors. Just make sure that it does. There's no space in between. That's all it is. Now, because that is, you know, I don't want to look overly made up to go to work, especially for one of our restaurants. I'm going to dust off this lined area, and what that will also do is kind of blend out any excess color. So it just kind of toned it down from this side. See how this one's a little more bold, and there's obvious line right there, and there's no line there. That's all you're doing is getting rid of these lines and kind of dusting down any excess color. That's all blending is it's kind of taking, well, it's one of two things. It can be taking color off, or it can be blending it out. But as you blend it out, typically, you're going to lose the color. So, let me get my little trusty black towel out. Now, I am going to use these two, the meaty side of the palms of your hands, just to kind of blend the edges so I don't have harsh lines there either. I've got my black cloth. And I'm going to get that back off of me. And I am not going to do the highlight. I feel like that would be too much for today, which is this beautiful afternoon rosé, but it'd be great if you were going out. But I am going to do a little bit of blush, and I'm going to use the Morning Surf color for that. It's kind of like it's a rosy pink. It's so rosy. And again, you could use the just slightly smile. Get it on the rosy part of your cheek because it's rosy. No, because that's where you want to place it. There. And I'm doing it a little more straight up and down over here so that this stays white. I'm staying on the top part of the cheek because under here is where we're going to come with bronzer. And I am going to put a little rose in the front of the brow here. And down, and once or twice down the nose and on the bulbous part of the chin. Now I'm going to come right back and use the same brush with this longboard color that we use for our transition color of the eye. And we're just going to put it right back here to cut in a little. Both sides. Not much because it's very pigmented, y'all. And stay on the back side where I just did that rose. Back here. Rose is a little more forward. Maybe down a little under the nose. Blow out. And underneath here. Not too much because I've got my hair pulled back. I want to be very sure that as I blend this down, I do not have lines. But what this does is it just recedes the fatty a little bit. Or any drop down. It gives a shadow under there. It just kind of gives a little more of a thinning look. If you feel like you got a little too brown there, add some of that rose back. I feel like I did. I got a little too brown. There. Alright, so that's the palette. I really like it a lot. Again, it is Malibu by Lorac. It is a summer palette. I like it a lot. I've actually had it longer than the summer. I think I got it back in the spring. And it says, Your La Experience. Your LA Experience. La. I thought it was French. Your LA Experience. And it's got it on the back almost like that's the name. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, it clearly says the name is Malibu. Free Spirit. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoy this. I'm going to go ahead and dust off a little bit of this just to kind of tone it down for the day, just in the front. And then I'm going to